Hi everyone. I thought it will be good to discuss few questions like the most important easy one, frequently asked question. So that's why I have chosen previous year's JE papers from which I have selected around 100 questions so that will help you in coming Neet examination. So please go through it, because many times I have observed that many questions they'll give in Neet examination based on JEE, AIEEE previous years. So that's why I thought it will be good to extract from simple, easy and important and frequently asked type of questions and to discuss, so that you will get idea and you can do it. So please go through it. All the best for the Neet. Let's see. The very first question is, let us discuss first PUC questions. The first question is based on error analysis. So when they give error analysis based question, you have to take the formula like power into percentage change. Power into always percentage change. So here, what is the power of A? What is the power of B? What is the power of C? What is the power of D? So here power of P is 1. So these kind of percentage changes or percentage error based questions they used to ask. Many times they asked. So here I have given solutions. Of course, I have taken from previous year question paper, but the most important models, as I said. So here solution is also there. See, but the model is important, that is based on error analysis. Now, next question when you consider the dimensional analysis. That is, there are three applications of dimensional analysis. One of the application is like finding the relation. Like they will ask any one quantity which is depending on other three quantities, like here time, velocity, angular momentum. Then they will ask the dimensions for another one, like mass. So then you will write mass is proportional to time power x, velocity power x, and angular momentum power z. Then you will write the dimensions of each quantity and you will compare the power of capital M, capital L, capital T. Then you will solve the equations. So this kind of question is also one of the important one. Many times they asked, and for every question I have given solution. You can check it, but the most important type of questions I am going to discuss. So please just try to practice such kind of questions or just have the idea of procedure. Now the same again here. See, in the first question, they have given like error measurement means they have given the relation, but here in this question, they have not given the relation. They have given something such that you have to take the relation from physics. Like they are asking percentage error in the resistance. So resistance of a given wire is obtained by measuring the current flowing in it and the voltage difference applied across it. The percentage error in the measurement of current and voltage. So current voltage they are given. They are asking resistance. According to Ohm's law, resistance equal to voltage by current. Then here power 1, 1, 1. So 1 into power into percentage change. But as you learn, always the quantity which to be measured should be left side. Remaining quantity should be right side. And never take minus negative sign. Never subtract anything in error measurement. One of the easy and important model. Here the solution is there. Now, the respective, see, less chances are there, but sometimes they will ask simple questions like number of significant figures, where if you know the rules, just remember the rules, then you can answer it. Now, the next one is, one of the important topic is projectile motion. So they can ask anything based on projectile, not like this question only. They can ask what is the range, they can ask what is the maximum height, they can ask time of flight. Here they are asking kinetic energy. Kinetic energy at the highest point. Kinetic energy means what? Half mv square, where v is the velocity. Velocity at the highest point means u cos theta. So if you studied and if you understood the conditions and quantities and relations of projectile motion, then you can get it. Because at the highest point, only horizontal component will be there, that is u cos theta, like that. Now, here solution is given. Initial kinetic energy is half mu square. Kinetic energy at the highest point means half m u cos theta whole square, where theta given is how much? 60, like that. Now, one more question is motion in two dimension. Like they will give velocity, x component, y component, acceleration, x component, y component. Then speed after some time means there is one x velocity vx, there is one y velocity vy. So you will apply here acceleration is constant, 0.4 is constant, 0.3 is constant. So same formulas you will apply like uniformly accelerated motion, but for x direction you will apply separately, for y direction you will apply separately. So here is the solution. Just go through the solution, just you will get the idea. Now in motion in one dimension, sometimes they will give the relation between displacement and time. They may ask velocity or acceleration, where you have to go with differentiation. Learn the method of differentiation. So if they give direct equation of displacement, like displacement equal to something, then if you differentiate this dx by dt velocity, so if you differentiate velocity, that is acceleration. But here it is not the equation for x. Then you have to think that you apply d by dt both sides, then you can solve such questions. This is also one of the important model question. Like big solutions, sometimes they may give few difficult questions. So please try to understand the procedure. Here I have given the clear solution. Now, based on the same projectile motion, a boy playing on the roof of a 10-meter high building throws a ball with a speed of 10 meters per second at an angle of 30 degrees with the horizontal. How far from the throwing point will the ball be at the height of 10 meters from the ground? See, here understanding the question is important. So there is a building, a boy is playing on the roof, and the roof means the building height is 10 meters and throws a ball at some angle. Now it should go and it will reach the same level of 10 meters. That means at particular height they are asking the projectile motion. Ground to ground projectile motion or this one, both are same. So at what distance means this is nothing but what? Range. So projectile motion only, but indirectly they are asking. So you have to understand the question. Understanding is the major thing. And that too, you have to understand in a very quick manner. Now, next question is, a particle of mass 0.3 kg subjected to a force F equal to minus kx. See here, they are asking what is the acceleration. Now, they have given the point. So, x value they have given. So, when you substitute x value, then you will get the force because k value also they have given. Then according to Newton's second law, acceleration equal to force by mass. So, they have given all the values. So, here is the solution. Now, a block rests on rough inclined plane making an angle of 30 degrees with the horizontal. See, not just this question. When you take like related to friction, any question can come. The one of the most important topic from the laws of motion. So here they have given the static friction coefficient. Now they are asking if the frictionless force on block is 10 Newton, the mass of the block is. So a block rests on rough incline making an angle. So here it is at rest. So what condition you have to take? Equilibrium condition. Equilibrium means what? All the forces must be balanced. So you have to take gravitational force, you have to take normal reaction, and you have to take them into components and you have to balance them. See, like as they shown, see normal reaction, frictional force and mg, all the questions. Sorry, all the forces. This is nothing but what? Free body diagram. So one of the important questions. So as it is in equilibrium, then you have to balance all the forces, all the directions. And one more thing I would like to tell you, whenever the body is in equilibrium, you choose x-axis and y-axis. Then you have to balance the forces along x and y. Here, three forces start acting simultaneously on a particle moving with velocity v bar. These forces are represented in magnitude and direction by the three sides of a triangle ABC. The particle will now move with velocity. So here three forces are acting and they are acting as three sides of a polygon, whether it is triangle or anything. So resultant force will become what? Zero. So resultant force zero means acceleration zero. Then velocity should remain constant. So here they have given clear solution. Now a lift moving upward. See apparent case, one of the important and many times they asked. So what is how the acceleration will change? So remember here, lift accelerating up. Lift accelerating up means acceleration upward. Or decelerating downward, then also acceleration up. Then G plus A. If accelerating downward or decelerating up, then acceleration is down. Then in initial case, accelerating up or decelerating down means acceleration is up, so G minus A. If it is accelerating down or decelerating up, then acceleration is down, so G plus A. If acceleration is not there, then G only. So that is what here they mentioned in vector form clearly. Now they have given velocity time graph. They are asking work done. So according to work energy theorem, you have to solve. So what is the work energy theorem? Work energy theorem is change in kinetic energy. Like here see, they have taken. But from the graph, you have to find what is the initial velocity, what is the final velocity, what is the acceleration. Because here if you see, the graph given is like VT graph. Straight line means acceleration is constant. Why? Because slope of VT graph is what? Acceleration. Slope is constant. So acceleration is constant. Now here, one more important topic is spring constant. So work done in stretching or compressing a spring or potential energy, elastic potential energy stored in the spring. That based questions also will come. Formula based question, simple formula based question like minus half k x square or minus half k x2 square minus x1 square. x2 is final stretch, x1 is initial stretch or final and initial compression. So that is what also they can ask. Like here the formula is there. Now one more important also in work energy power, work done by a constant force. They may give force and position in vector form. Then how do you take the work done? So work done equal to F bar dot S bar. So work done equal to force into displacement means scalar product. So I coefficient into I coefficient, J coefficient into J coefficient plus K coefficient into K coefficient. So that is one of the easy and important one. Many times they asked. So simple solution. But you should know vector product. I mean scalar and vector product for such questions. Now a wire suspended vertically from one of its ends is stretched by attaching to it. So it is one simple question from mechanical properties of solid elastic potential energy. One of the important topic in mechanical properties of solid is Young's modulus and elastic potential energy. Most of the times they asked question. So elastic potential energy formula is what? Half into F into delta L. F is given, delta L is given. Sometimes F may not be given, then you have to use Young's modulus formula. Sometimes delta L may not be given, then you have to use Young's modulus formula. So but here the question is very simple. Now here, based on the SHM, actually they have the question is not clear, but this is the equation. Then you have to compare with the general equation, d square x by dt square equal to minus omega square x. If you compare in place of omega square, what is there? Alpha. Then you will get omega. They are asking what? Time period. T equal to 2 pi by omega. Because most of the time they asked questions in SHM from velocity, acceleration, time period, and energy based on these things only. Most of the times, one question they used to ask. So here is the solution. They compared and they have taken time period 2 pi by omega. Now the total energy of particle executing simple harmonic motion. So that is what I said again. So the total energy independent of x, because it is half m omega square a square. It depends on mass and frequency and amplitude, not on the displacement. The potential energy depends on displacement and the kinetic energy depends on displacement, but the total energy always remains constant at every point. Now here a body executes simple harmonic motion, the potential energy, kinetic energy, and total, again same thing as I said. So at what point kinetic energy is zero, at what point potential energy is minimum, total energy, how it will change, all the things you have studied, just conceptual based question. And always remember that at equilibrium position, velocity maximum, so kinetic energy maximum. At end positions, velocity is zero, so the kinetic energy minimum, potential energy maximum. Now a child swinging on a swing in sitting position stands up, then the time period of the swing. See, it is based on the conservation of angular momentum also. Suddenly standing means the position of center of mass from the point of rotation, from the axis of rotation decreases. So moment of inertia decreases. So that angular velocity increases. As angular velocity increases, then time period will decrease because t equal to 2 pi by omega. So like one by one related, conceptual based theoretical questions. So many times they will ask questions based on conceptual based questions. Now here, moment of inertia. See, moment of inertia of rod, moment of inertia of ring, moment of inertia of disc, moment of inertia solid sphere, hollow sphere, all the values you have to remember. So based on that, questions can come. So here it is direct matching. So for which axis, which is the moment of inertia? See, and whenever you are solving question with moment of inertia, you have to know how to apply parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem. Then only you can solve the questions. And here comes the question based on collisions. One of the important topic, that is collisions. Every time they used to give question based on this. So every time when the question is given based on collision, you have to either look at whether the direct formula like elastic collision or inelastic collision, or you have to apply the conservation of linear momentum and conservation of energy formula. You have to think, and sometimes you may have to use the equation of coefficient of restitution also. So please try to read the question and try to understand the question. So here the question, if you look at it, they have taken the conservation of linear momentum, because it is not like one particle and another particle is coming and hitting. There is one block and the mass is coming and hitting bullet. So it is different. And after hitting, what they mentioned, embedded here it is. So embedded means it is like completely inelastic collision, because in completely inelastic collision, after collision they move together. Now again, as I said, see, they are moving what we call it as collision based question I have given. So a body of mass m1 moving with unknown velocity v1 undergoes collinear collision with a body After collision, move with velocities respectively. So masses relation they have given, velocity relation they have given. So you have the formula for final velocities. Just apply it, or else you apply the conservation of linear momentum. Your wish. So depending on which method you comfortable, that you try to apply it. See, mostly Neet, but this kind of statement based questions will not come, but I have given only to make you understand that theoretical questions are also important. So you have to make sure that two particles moving in the same direction do not lose all their energy completely in elastic collision. See, two particles moving in the same direction do not lose all their energy. Yes, there is a loss, but they will not lose all the energy in elastic collision. Yes, it is true. So principle of conservation of momentum holds true for all. Yes, kinetic energy conservation is not valid, but conservation of momentum is valid in every collision. So you must have the idea of that particular concept 100%. Then only you can attempt such kind of questions. So here clear explanation is given. Now, see, this is one of the thing based on center of mass. So don't solve very big questions based on center of mass. Whatever regular shapes are there, so those combination they will give where you have to replace them with a point mass. Like this rod I can replace here, and this rod I can replace here. Now it will become 2-point system. So for 2-point system, what is the center of mass? From based on that you can calculate. Like if two masses m1, m2, they are separated by some distance r, then the center of mass will be at a distance r1, r2, where from m1 distance means m2 r by m1 plus m2. From m2 means m1 r by m1 plus m2, like that. So here they have given, but here they applied the general procedure, but you apply the shortcut formula, whatever I said. Now again, moment of inertia based question. You want to solve this question means you must know, as I said, those two theorems. Then only you can apply it. So they can ask any object. Not sure that disk will ask or ring will ask. And one more thing in this chapter is rolling down an inclined plane. So when it is rolling down, then what is the velocity after reaching the ground? Who will reach with greater velocity? Who will reach the bottom first? Who will roll down with greater acceleration? We have the formulas like acceleration equal to g sin theta by 1 plus I by mr square. So those formulas you need to remember. Then only you can compare and you can say. But here, the question when you consider, it is frictionless. If it is friction, then it will roll. But here, no rolling. So no rolling means what? It will slide. So when it is sliding, then it comes under what chapter? Laws of motion. See, on inclined plane, when a body is kept, when there is no friction, then it will slide down with the acceleration, everything same g sin theta. If there is a friction and if it is rolling down, then it will become what? G sin theta by, as I said, 1 plus I by mr square, where moment of inertia changes for different bodies. Now, two identical particles move towards each other. The velocity of center of mass. See, velocity, position of center of mass, velocity of center of mass. m1 v1 bar plus m2 v2 bar by m1 plus m2. But two particles means same direction means plus will come. Opposite direction means minus will come. Like m1 v1 minus m2 v2. See, here they have taken minus. Now, average density of the earth. So, average density of the earth, we have the direct formula. So it's like it depends on density means what? Mass into, density equal to mass by volume. So we have the formula. So just substitute it. In that you will get the relation so that you can conclude it. Here G and rho. See, this is the formula we will derive for G. So now here G, as it is changing from point to point. So The density depends on what? G. That is what the conclusion. Because capital R is radius, that will not change. Capital G is constant, that will not change. 4 by 3 pi constant, that will not change. So the two variables are G and rho. Next, one more in that gravitation, it is important that escape velocity. So it is direct formula based question, but here in the question they projected some angle that really you projected at an angle, doesn't matter. Energy, how much you are giving is important. You are throwing at 45, 30, 60, doesn't matter. The total energy, how much you are giving is important. You have to give some energy so that total energy should become zero. Now, satellite, one more, like planetary motion, satellite motion. What is the time period? Time period, square of the time period is proportional to cube of the radius of the circular orbit. So based on that also questions will be asked, like comparison based questions. See, t square proportional to r cube. So they are comparing between two. Now total energy needed to project a body of mass m from the surface. So from the surface means only potential energy will be there. So how much potential energy is there, you calculate it. Equal amount if you add it, because potential energy is negative and you add equal amount of positive kinetic energy so that total energy becomes zero, then it will escape from the surface. That will go to infinity. Now here stress and Young's modulus relation, formula based question. Why I have given this? Because sometimes from any chapter they can ask direct formula based question. So we cannot expect only this formula will come. Any formula they can ask. At least one question or two questions they used to ask based on this. And here the formula is about energy density. If two soap bubbles of different radii are connected by a tube, see, it is based on the excess pressure. Excess pressure is inversely proportional to radius. Smaller means greater pressure. So the flow happens from air flow or fluid flow happens from high pressure to low pressure. That's why smaller to bigger. So conceptual based question. See, this is the relation for excess pressure. Now this is based on the surface tension. So work done equal to surface tension into change in area, or direct. Here wire fixed at the upper end and stretches by a length L by applying a force L. The work done in stretching. So here work done is directly force into displacement F into L, but here liquid surface will be there which has two lengths. That's why it will be different. Oh, sorry. Actually, I said wrong. Listen, a wire fixed at the upper end and stretches by length L. So, see, the situation is completely different. They have taken one wire and they applied a force F. Now it stretches by a length delta L. That is nothing but work done or change in elastic potential energy is half into F into delta L. So option D is correct. Now, a cylinder of height completely filled with water, the water velocity of a flux. It is Torres-Ellis theorem, one of the important in fluids. Like if it is at a depth h from the top surface, the velocity of a flux is root 2 gh. So based on that, see here root 2 gh. H is the depth of the hole from the water surface. And Newton's law of cooling is also one of the important thing. Here it is theoretical question, but most of the time they used to ask the question time taken to reduce the temperature from theta 1 to theta 2 is T1. Then what is the time or what is the final temperature after time T2? Like that comparison based questions will come. So once check those kind of questions, how to do it, please. Or here only I will just tell you, like, see, d theta by dt is proportional to minus theta naught. So d theta means change in temperature by time. Now theta 2 became theta 3 in time theta equal to theta means average temperature. Theta 1 plus theta 2 by 2 minus theta naught. Theta 2 plus theta 3 by 2 minus theta naught. So here theta naught is surroundings temperature. So that only here theoretical question directly they asked. As d theta by dt is directly proportional to d theta by dt is directly proportional to delta theta. But dq by dt is directly proportional to d theta by dt. That's why dq by dt also proportional to what? Delta theta. But minus sign here represents that it is keep on decreasing. Now in thermodynamics, they can ask based on any thermodynamic process. Like here during an adiabatic process, they are telling. So any process they can ask. We cannot sure about this process or that process. So the ratio of Cp by Cv means gamma. Now, but here they are asking that the pressure of the gas is, they will give the relation. Pressure is proportional to cube of absolute temperature. So from this, use the ideal gas equation PV equal to nRT and find the relation PV power something equal to constant, because the actual relation is PV power gamma. So if you find PV power something and compare that, something will be in the place of gamma. So you have to manipulate the given equation in terms of PV power gamma. Then you will get the gamma value. And this is the question based on gamma per mixture. So you have to find Cp mixture and Cv mixture, and then and Cv mixture formula is Cv1n1 plus Cv2n2 by n1 plus n2, where Cv1 for first gas, Cv2 for second gas, where Cv equal to Fr by 2. F is degree of freedom. So it all depends on whether it is monoatomic gas or diatomic gas or triatomic gas. So realize and try to do it. Now see, it is based on heat transfer. So in heat transfer, based on radiation, most of the time they will ask questions. So you please study the Wien's law and Stephen's law, based on which they will ask question. Here they asked a question based on Stephen's law, like radiation power is proportional to T power 4. So how it changes? Also radiation power proportional to area. So if temperature changes and radius changes, how the radiation power changes, that ratio they are asking. It is nothing but Stephen's law. So like that, these are all the important questions or important topics I feel, which all I collected from, as I said, from the previous JEE questions. So just practice, just have the idea so that it may help you in the NEET entrance exam. Now we'll see second PUC questions. Based on second PUC, like one of the topic is based on the transformer. So in transformer, one of the simple question is all about the formula based, like N2 by N1 equal to V2 by V1 equal to I1 by I2. So the relation between primary and secondary coil, number of windings and voltages and currents. So please just try to understand what data they are given and then try to apply the formula. And another important is energy stored in a capacitor. When you connect a capacitor C, then to a battery of voltage V, the energy stored is half CV square, half of the work done by battery, because remaining half will dissipate as heat energy. That is the thing. So based on this formula, but here they are kept in parallel, so voltage is same for everything. But N capacitor, so total capacitance will become NC. Now, next thing is based on EMF, means EMI. In that EMI, one of the important topic is motional EMF. When a rod is moving in the presence of external magnetic field, then an EMF induces BLV. So based on that, questions will come. So please just try to understand the given question, then you can solve it easily. So no need to derive, it is direct formula. So but they have given like a simple derivation. It's a direct formula because only one length is inside the magnetic field. So the velocity must be perpendicular to length and those two must be perpendicular to magnetic field. But this is parallel to velocity, so no induced EMF. This is also parallel, but this is outside the field, so no induced EMF. Now, recent times they are asking question based on LC circuit oscillation. So please just try to remember the formula. Like what is the maximum energy stored is half Q square by C. And the total energy will slowly convert into magnetic energy stored in the inductor, that is half Li square. So based on that, they used to ask the questions. So please try to see electric energy and the magnetic energy relation. Alternating current cannot be measured by DC ammeter because DC means it's a direct constant current, but alternating means it keep on changes. So we have to take average value, and average value if you take it, that is zero for alternating current. That's why the DC ammeter cannot measure it. But it's a direct conceptual based question. So here they have given clear explanation. Now the next concept here, like self-inductance or mutual inductance based questions will come, or Faraday's law, induced EMF questions will come, or induced current based on Faraday's law, or inductance, self-inductance or mutual inductance questions will come from EMI. So you read the question and try to understand. Like if it is based on induced EMF minus n d pi by dt, if it is based on induced current epsilon by r, if it is based on self inductance pi equal to Li, so epsilon equal to minus L di by dt, and if it is based on mutual inductance, then EMF is minus m di by dt. Now, so again the question is based on transformer only. But here the question is based on efficiency. Sometimes they will give efficiency is 90% or 70%. See, the efficiency formula is V2 I2 output power by input power, or power across secondary by power across primary coil. So in that case, Neet, that is efficiency 90% means you have to take 90 by 100. But the previous case when we took the formula V2 by V1 equal to I1 by I2, their efficiency we will consider as approximately 1. So ideal case we will consider. So if they mention non-ideal case, then you have to take this in this manner. See here. Now, paramagnetic material has 10 power 28 atoms per meter cube. Its magnetic susceptibility. See, it's a direct question based on Curie's law. So if you know the formula, then you can do it. Like Curie's law or Curie's law, which can be applied for paramagnetic materials and ferromagnetic materials also. Sometimes in magnetic material, they may also ask question, theoretical based question based on diamagnetic, paramagnetic and ferromagnetic also. Now another important topic is lens. So they can ask anything related to lens, magnification, position, nature of the object image, and the combination of lenses, silvering of lens. So anything they can ask. You just have to be thorough with all the lens formula. Like depending on the question, you have to solve it. So here also one question, like an object is placed in front of a lens from a forms a sharp image on a film 12 centimeter behind the lens. A glass plate is having refractive index is placed between the lens and the film with its plane faces parallel to film. At what distance should object shifted to be in sharp focus of film. Because of the introduction, so there is a shift mu minus 1 into t. So that only you have to consider here. So the shift here you have to consider, then you can calculate. Because generally when there is a object and lens, then you will apply the direct lens maker's formula, then you will get the formula. Sorry, then you will get the solution. But here they have given one more glass plate is introduced so that that will have produce some shift due to refraction. So that shift also you have to consider, that came out to be 1 by 3. So that will be, but you have to understand depending on the position whether it will be shifted away or towards. So that thing also important. Your question is missing. But still I will just tell you, because this is also one of the important thing. Question is not there, but just I'll explain concept. By mistake the question got missed. Here the thing is, it is based on either Young's modulus or Young's double slit experiment or diffraction. Question can be asked based on both of them, like position of nth minima, nth maxima, or nth bright fringe or nth dark fringe, or angular position or linear position. Based on those formulas, direct formula based question. Which fringe n is how much, and whether dark fringe or bright fringe. So accordingly, what is the lambda given, and what is the distance between the slits, or what is the width of the slit, or what is the distance between slit and screen. So you have to take everything carefully. You have to convert them properly, like everything should be in terms of meter. Then you can calculate such questions. And one more important topic is polarization based on Brewster's law. That is how the analyzer changes the intensity of a polarized light. So I equal to I naught cos square theta, where I is intensity emerging out from the analyzer. I naught is the intensity falling on the analyzer. Theta is the angle between transmission axis of polarizer and analyzer. Polarizer will convert unpolarized light into polarized light, but analyzer will change the intensity. So depending on the question, you need to calculate it. See here one polarizer is there converting. And when unpolarized light converts into polarized light, intensity becomes approximately half. Then there is one more polarizer that is called analyzer, that is at an angle 45 degrees. Means that is having transmission axis 45 degrees with the transmission axis of polarizer. Then you can apply Brewster's law. Sorry, Malus law. I'm sorry, it is not Brewster's law, it is Malus law. I don't know what I said initially, but there are two laws. What is Brewster's law? That is also important. So the Brewster's law says that if there is a medium and if a unpolarized light falls, you have to adjust the angle of incidence such that that is equal to polarizer angle. There, the angle of refraction and angle of reflection both becomes 90 degrees to each other. So at that particular condition, the refracted light becomes the polarized light. So there you will get the condition that tan IP equal to mu, that is Brewster's law. Now here one convex lens and object image position they have given. Now the whole setup is immersed in water. So here it is all about effect of focal length and all. How the focal length affects when you place it in a medium. Now one more thing here I would like to mention, that if you consider mirror, the focal length does not change as medium changes. But when you consider what we call it as lens, when you change the medium, the focal length will change. So accordingly, you calculate it. Now, a monochromatic light is incident at a certain angle on equilateral triangular prism. This is one of the very important topic, that is prism. So based on the prism, they can ask what is the refractive index of the material of the prism, or what is the what we call it as minimum deviation. Like different formulas will be there. So depending on the question you have to use, and deviation produced by a prism is delta equal to I plus E minus A, or delta equal to mu minus 1 into A for thin prisms. So depending on the question you have to check it, where capital A is prism angle or refracting angle. Now here they are asking angle of incidence. Sometimes you may have to apply the Snell's law also. But one more thing here I would like to tell you, at minimum deviation, what happens is the ray becomes parallel to the base inside, so that R1, R2 becomes equal. Also angle of incidence equal to angle of emergence. So remember all these conditions and try to solve it. Here they have given the solution. Now see, Young's modulus, sorry, based on Young's double slit experiment, direct question usually asked, they'll ask very rarely, they'll change something. Like instead of monochromatic light, white light is used. Or position of S1 or S2 changed slightly. Then what kind of change happens in pattern, they will ask. So depending on the question, you need to analyze, and you please understand everything, like what happens when white light used instead of monochromatic light, because monochromatic light means single wavelength, white light means it is multiple wavelengths will be there. So have some idea about those things also. Now the graph between angle of, it is a direct question, graph based question, even you will do it in. So here what we are taken this question, because graphical based questions mostly they will ask known graph, whatever you have studied in classroom, whatever you have seen all the questions, or sometimes they will ask you to draw the graph, or sometimes they will give the graph and they'll ask some data. But as I said, if they give the graph, then you have to understand that from the graphs you can find any quantity either by using slope concept or from area below the graph. Now this is based on refraction. So refraction, in refraction the important thing is total internal reflection. So that is one of the important topics. Just understand what is the condition for total internal reflection, and what is the formula for no light emergence from the water surface out of the circular disc. What is the area of the circle through which light emerges? So, or the field of view of fish. So based on that also questions will come. But here direct condition based questions they are given, like what is the sin C formula, critical angle formula, mu rarer by mu denser. So this is the formula for critical angle. Now see here, human eye question I have taken. There is no guarantee that they can ask human eye question or microscope or telescope. Anything, you just try to understand each and everything. Just remember the formulas. Like in case of human eye, what is the formula for myopia, and what is the formula for hypermetropia? What is the magnification for microscope and telescope? So direct formula based questions they can give you. So just try to understand. And also sometimes they'll ask you resolving power or limit of resolution. So those formulas also remember. Like here the question is based on resolving power. So what is the resolving power? That question is also very important. Resolving power of microscope, resolving power of telescope. Now two stars are 10 light years away from the earth. They are seen through a telescope. See, this is nothing but again the limit of resolution based question. So limit of resolution means direct formula. Limit of resolution nothing but resolving power is nothing but reciprocal of limit of resolution. The shortest distance a device can see it as separate. Now here the question is based on lens. So just try to understand what is the data given, what is the focal length, or what is the distance of object, whether it is positive or negative, and what is the focal length. Like if it is diverging lens, nothing but concave lens negative. If it is converging lens or convex lens, then it is positive. Then you apply the lens maker's formula. Sometimes you try to apply the magnification also. See here they have given it combination of lens. So combination of lens very rare, but when they have given combination of lens, how to solve the question is first you take one lens and solve the image position for that, and that image position, so initial image which formed, that will act as object, virtual object for the second one, then it will get the final image. So accordingly you have to calculate. That method is important, step by step. Now, as we know, one of the important topic is in modern physics, that is photoelectric effect and de Broglie wavelength. So here is a question based on the photoelectric effect. So work function they have given, the ratio of wavelength they are asking. So work function means hc by lambda. So that ratio they have taken because E is inversely proportional to lambda. Now it is depending on the de Broglie wavelength. So what is the de Broglie hypothesis? Lambda equal to h by p or h by mv or h by root 2 mk or h by root 2 m qv or h by root 3 m kt. So depending on the question, like here they are talking about kinetic energy. So kinetic energy, when they are talking, you have to take the relation in terms of kinetic energy. So this one. So how it changes. So depending on that, you need to calculate. Now, see here, they have taken kinetic energy, means de Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy. If they say suppose the charge accelerated through a potential difference, then you have to take this formula. Kinetic energy is QV. If they said thermal neutron, then kinetic energy is 3 by 2 kT. The time taken by a photoelectron to come out after the photon strikes is approximately. The only purpose of giving this question is there are few things which are like information based question which are given in textbooks. But which one they will ask, or from which chapter they will ask, we don't know. As much information you can remember, that much information you remember, and that too whatever you have studied till now. So based on that, if question comes and if you know and if you remember, then only you can answer it. So there is a chance to get this kind of questions. Now, again, the relation between energy of photon and particle. So particle means it is de Broglie hypothesis. Photon means it is photoelectric effect. They try to combine. So this is, you can remember like a formula also. They have given simple derivation. This is for electron de Broglie equation. This is for photon. So when you take the ratio or multiplication, then you will get the relation. So you can remember like a formula also. They can ask instead of electron, proton also they can ask, or any other charged particle also they can ask. Now this is based on Einstein photoelectric equation. That is also one of the important. So direct formula based question they can ask, or manipulated based question also they can ask. Little difficult to level question also they can ask. Try to solve it. So here solution is given, you can try, but don't just look at the solution. First you try to solve it on your own. See, this one you just forget, because that is depending on the just like what we call it as communication. No need. Now here the energy spectrum based on binding energy and all. But see, these kind of graphs and all, what we call it as, usually what happens is we will not study much because there are many graphs will be given in textbooks. For example, I'll tell you what is the how the resistivity of copper wire changes. So based on particular information based, when they give the question or textbook based graph or anything, so you must be knowing all those things. Then only you can answer. So just for the purpose, I have given this one. So just try to remember such kind of any topics you have studied, any graphs are already you have taken. Now another important thing is based on radioactivity, based on calculation of half-life. So how the decay process will happen and what is the relation between half-life and decay constant. Based on that also they can ask questions. Now, one more thing, hydrogen spectrum. So, like in case of hydrogen spectrum, as we discussed, what is the wavelength of Lyman series means for a particular transition or maximum wavelength, minimum wavelength or frequency, anything they can ask. If you find wavelength, you can find the frequency also, or for which transition greater wavelength or for which transition greater frequency or greater energy, that also they will ask. So just practice that kind of questions. Here they have given clear explanation like how to compare and do them, because you have to check with the equations which are the, and energy should be more for any transition, means it should come to ground state. For any excited state, if it is coming to ground state, means that will have greater energy, because the ground state energy is minus 13.6 electron volt and the next energy is minus 3.4 electron volts. Huge difference is there. So if any electron is coming from excited state to first state, means that will have greater energy, that will have greater frequency of the photon. So try to analyze on your own. And as I said, these statement kind of questions mostly they will not give, but only to make you understand that the theoretical based question I have given. So try to read as many, means try to have clear idea of as many theoretical questions as possible. And when you are attempting theoretical question, please make sure that you know everything about the topic. Then only you can answer it. Then only you have to answer it. By decreasing the temperature, the specific resistance of conductor and semiconductor. This is the concept of how the resistance varies for conductor and semiconductor. For conductor, it increases, but for semiconductor, it decreases. We have studied. Like direct, there is a reason, relaxation time and all. So here they have given the reason also. But you should have studied all these things when you have to attempt the such kind of questions. So this is all about the effect of temperature on resistance of a conductor or semiconductor. That is also one of the important thing. Here same question, but they have given the name. Copper is conductor, germanium is semiconductor. That's it. Means indirect way they can ask question. And sometimes or most of the time they will ask question based on junction diode, theoretical question. So how the depletion region, barrier potential changes in forward bias, reverse bias. So please try to have that particular topic read from the textbook, and also read all the types of diodes, photodiode, solar cell and LED, all those things. So whether it is forward bias or reverse bias or heavily doped or lightly doped, all those things you need to read and remember. Now, This is based on the energy gap of a semiconductor. So energy gap of a semiconductor is also hc by lambda. So they have given lambda, so you can calculate energy. Now this is also like based on what we call it as semiconductors. So every there is a particular like barrier potential for which it starts like conducting electricity. So based on that, like we have two types, germanium and silicon. So we have studied it. So just try to understand. And here if you take the question, germanium and silicon diodes start conducting at zero point 0.3, 0.7 volt. So for germanium it is 0.3, for silicon 0.7. In the following figure, oh sorry, I missed the diagram. See, oh, it is like the concept is all about when you apply some minimum or more than that, then only it will activate. I mean, it will start conducting. That is what. So based on that concept, as the diagram is not there, we cannot solve the question. But just try to solve if there is any question you get it, because sometimes they will give the circuits with a combination of diode and resistor. So there you have to take some potential drop across the diode based on its what we call it as conducting potential, like germanium means zero point 0.3, silicon means zero point 0.7. Remaining will go to resistor. So such kind of questions will come. Now, this is screw gauge. See, screw gauge or vernier calipers, or what we call it as most of the time screw gauge and vernier caliper they'll ask like what is the reading. So reading means main scale reading plus least count into circular scale reading or vernier scale reading. So that formula. Suppose if case in case of vernier calipers, so that is main scale reading plus least count into vernier scale reading. In case of screw gauge, main scale reading plus least count into circular scale reading, where least count is different, because in case of linear vernier calipers 1 millimeter is divided into 10 parts, but in case of screw gauge 1 millimeter is divided into 100 parts. So that least count is 1 by 10 for vernier calipers, 1 by 100 for screw gauge. Here they have given the question based on screw gauge. So that is what they have taken here. But that is based on first PUC. Let it be. Now, as I said, one of the important question from semiconductors is based on logic gates. So they can ask any combination of gate, or they can ask write the truth table for any combination. So please be thorough with that one. Like here they have given see A. So they join together so that here A is coming, but here not gate means here A bar will come, here B bar will come. Now that is joined to NAND gate means A bar dot B bar whole bar. Now this what it will become A bar bar plus B bar bar, that means A plus B. But here A plus B is coming. Now again one NOT gate connected. So that means final is A plus B whole bar. So A plus B whole bar nothing but what? NOR gate. A plus B is OR gate. A plus B bar means NOR gate. Such kind of questions they used to ask. So here one more question. They are asking you to write the truth table, as I said. So writing the truth table means I will tell you like take 0, 0 or 0, 1. For example, 0, 1. So here 1 will come. 0, 1 means it is AND gate. So 0 will come. Here NOT gate 1 will become 0. 0, 0 is this is OR gate. So 0 will become. Like that you have to check for 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. Then only you can get the answer. But you have to do it very quickly. Now it is the question based on capacitors. So combination of capacitor, combination of resistors, very simple question they'll ask. Like here they have given, see, three capacitors each of 4 microfarad are to be connected in such a way that effective capacitance 6. So to 4 if you connect parallel 8 it will become. But if you connect in series, then 2 it will become. So 2 plus 4, 6. So that means 2 should be connected in series, then that should be connected in parallel. Like that you have to think logically or reasoning type of questions. Now, as I said, energy stored in electric field produced by a metal sphere is 4 joule. If the sphere contains 4 microcoulomb charge, its radius will be. See, it's about energy stored. So energy stored means, as I said, half CV square, or half CV square is nothing but half Q square by C. So they have given the data, then you can find the capacitance. But for a sphere, isolated sphere, the capacitance is 4 pi epsilon naught r. In case of Earth, we study this formula actually, so that you can equate it and you can find it. But here two formulas are there. So here the question is based on two combined formulas. So capacitors is one of the important topic for the Neet. Now one more thing is Gauss law. See, based on Gauss law, like what is the total electric flux linked with a closed surface? So here they are asking whether the fluxes are equal or not. Here total charge is 2q, and here total charge is q cancel, so again 2q here also. Here also 2q. Here also 8q minus q minus 4q, so 2q. So in everywhere total inside charge is 2q, so flux also must be same. So based on that simple conceptual based or formula based question they will ask. Now here what is the question is three charges placed respectively at distances. See, no net force are means the system is in equilibrium, means the resultant force must be zero. Then you have to use the method of vector. You have to find here two types of questions will come. Like if two charges are there, then where the third charge must be placed so that the system is in equilibrium. And another question, how much charge must be placed so that the system is in equilibrium? If they are asking position, you take the resultant force on third charge 0 and you will get the answer. If they are asking how much charge, then you take force on either Q1 or Q2, that equate it to 0, then you will get the answer. So that is the difference you need to find out. So force on which one to be taken? Now here a positive point charge is released from rest at a distance r naught from a positive line charge. The speed of the point charge as a function of instantaneous distance from the charge. See, it is little bit tough question because it is going means you have to go for work done. Work done equal to charge into potential difference, that is equal to change in kinetic energy. So they are trying to combine work energy theorem with electrostatics. So very rare, but sometimes we can guess, sorry, we can expect a few difficult questions like this, mathematical based questions. So see, as I said, so charge into potential difference, final minus initial equal to change in kinetic energy half in this way. But it is a line charge density, so that electric field formula we have. Then delta V, you can go for it. How do you find it, delta V? So delta V means integration minus integration E bar dot dr bar. So then you will get the delta V value. So you have to go for the integration from initial position to final position. Then you will get the delta V. Then you will get the velocity relation. Now, in case of resistor, as I said, simple combination, they can ask what is the energy dissipated in particular resistor, what is the current in particular resistor, what is the voltage drop across particular resistor. So where you need to use simple concept of in series current is same, in parallel voltage drop or potential difference must be same. and some few simple combination of resistors. So please try to solve these kind of simple questions. Don't go for big questions. Just understand which two are in series, which two are in parallel, and try to reduce them into one by one. Take two, reduce them to one. Take two, reduce them to one, like that. And which of the following statement is false? See, only one thing I will suggest. Take care of whether they are asking true or false. Which of the following is not correct, which of the following is correct. And then you have to check each and every option, then only you will get it. You must have the idea of each concept, then only you can answer such questions. Now, this is the effect of dielectric in case of capacitor. See, if there is a dielectric, then the capacitance increases. If there are multiple dielectrics, you have to take their combination. 3 dielectrics means 3 capacitors. Now C1, C2, C3. Here the area divided. If they divide area, the C1, C2, C3 in parallel. Suppose this is the capacitor and they divided like this. That means they divided distance here, then they will be in series. But here area divided means they must be in parallel. So you have to take each one C1, C2, C3 separately. Capacitance C1 means K1 epsilon naught A1 by D, because D is same for everyone. Area is different. Like that C2, C3 you have to take and you have to find the resultant. But remember, area divided means parallel. Distance divided means series. Now this is the question based on magnetic field due to a current element. So that is one of the important thing, where when they give a current element, try to know the formula. Most of the time they will give a combination like linear wire having current or circular wire having current. Based on this only they will ask the questions. Remember those formulas. But one more important thing, try to remember the how to find, like try to find how to find the direction of magnetic field. Direction is also important. Many times they will also ask, specify what is the direction of magnetic field. And here is the question based on what we call it as torque on a magnetic loop. Torque tau on a magnetic loop. That is torque tau formula. What is the torque of the loop? M bar cross B bar, where magnetic moment is current into area. Magnetic moment direction means you have to rotate the fingers in the direction of current. I mean, curl the fingers in the direction of current. Then thumb will give you the direction of M bar. And that is placed in the presence of external magnetic field means it experiences magnetic torque, MB sin theta. So what is M, what is B, and you have to calculate. This is theoretical based question, as I said, based on what we call it as magnetic materials. Now this is again same question, what is the magnetic field due to a current element, whether it is linear or circular or anything. That is one of the important from the magnetic effects of electric current. You should know the method. Like if there is element, semi-infinite wire, finite infinite wire, or finite wire, or semicircle or circle or sector, what is the magnetic field due to that element. Now this is again magnetic moment of a moving charge in a circular path is I into A. So that is, you can remember like a direct formula also. This is even formula also, if a charge is moving in a circular path. Now, this is again magnetic dipole, electric dipole, magnetic dipole, similar things, work done in rotating the dipole. In electrostatics, it will come minus P cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. In magnetic dipole, it will come minus MP cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. So, similar kind of relations will be there. There also, here also, potential energy minimum means stable equilibrium, potential energy maximum means unstable equilibrium. So try to understand both the concepts, both are very important. based on that stable and unstable equilibrium they used to ask. Like here, stable equilibrium they are telling. And this is again magnetic materials. Hysteresis loop, you know. So read it thoroughly and remember what is retentivity, what is coercivity, and if it is thin, more coercivity, what is the meaning? More retentivity, what is the meaning? What kind of nature? Everything you need to use. And in transformers, what kind of materials we will use? For permanent magnets, what kind of things we will use? For electromagnets, what kind of materials we use, those purpose and everything you should remember. Then only you can answer such kind of questions. Now, this is like altering the shape of the wire. So one wire is there, there is some magnetic field. Now you make it into another loop. Smaller radius or bigger radius. Smaller radius means more number of turns. Bigger radius means small number of turns. So number of turns will change, radius will change. So that magnetic field also changes. So you have to compare both the situations. Comparison based questions. As I said, Curie temperature, again magnetic materials. Now this is motion of a charged particle in the presence of external magnetic field, like cyclotron based questions. When it will move in circular path, what is the radius, what is the time period, what is the kinetic energy, what is the path when it is moving at an angle theta. So those based questions also will come, just try to understand. And here the question is based on work done, and work done by magnetic field always zero because it try to change the direction, always acts perpendicular, so that it is always perpendicular to the displacement at every point, so that work done by magnetic field always zero. Now here again same thing, motion of charged particle in magnetic field, but comparison they are asking between electron and proton. See, radius equal to mv by qb, p by qb. So depending on their charge, so which will rotate in lesser circle or more circle, that comparison based question they will ask. And as I told you, binding energy based question. So here they are asking binding energy of particular atom. So please try to understand. So the mass effect into c square. See, delta m c square. This is time interval between 33% to 67%. It is based on the radioactive decay. So where we calculate n equal to n naught into e power minus lambda t, or half life. So n equal to n naught into e power minus lambda t. So how much percentage it should reduce? Number of atoms undecayed. So these kind of based questions. So these all the things I have taken, as I said, from the previous JEE question. So please solve these questions so that the concept will become like a revision, important topics, important formula, everything you can remember. And I feel like at least 25 to 30 questions minimum, they'll ask similar kind of questions. So thank you all.